ready to go?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing? All right, we're going to get this thing started. Thank you for joining us for today's panel discussion, the network effect. I always say your network is your net worth. How does AYP change careers and communities? My name is Byron Bush. On behalf of the Aiken Young Professionals and the Aiken Chamber, we are thrilled to welcome you here. Today's discussion is about how meaningful local connections through AYP, the Chamber, and other professional communities can launch careers, build confidence, and create real impact. You'll hear from three remarkable leaders who have navigated different career paths right here in our region, and each of them proves that you don't have to leave Aiken to lead big. So please join me in welcoming our panelists. Ms. Sarah Kinney, Procurement and Pricing Manager, Genesis Research Group. Mr. Jim Tunison, Mr. President and CEO of Aiken Chamber of Commerce. And Senator Tom Young, South Carolina State Senator and first AYP Chair. Y'all, let's give him a round of applause. All right, so we're going to start this thing off with a general question to each of you. We'll say 1 or 2 minute response. Can you share, just give us a little career overview of, where did you start and what was your path from where you started to where you are now? Maybe we'll go right on down the line.
That works. So, started with some internships in college, right? I can't stress those enough. So that's what led me to my first, real person job in the big world, working for the Yankees AAA team in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So worked 4 seasons for them doing corporate partnerships and sponsorships. And then, thanks to my wife, ended up moving down to Aiken, and we'll get into this later, but met with David, and then ended up landing a job here at the Chamber. Now 6.5 years later, I am running the team here at the Chamber. So very, very blessed, and this is a great community to be the Chamber president of.
So I graduated with a degree in history, and all that I knew was that I did not want to teach. So I found myself moving to Aiken after graduating up at USC in Columbia, and my resume just kind of fell into some people's hands through networking. I actually got tapped in with Chancellor Tom Hallman from USC Aiken, and through him my resume bounced around to Sharon Rogers at United Way, and then ended up with someone at Parsons, who was running the SWPF project at SRS at the time. And they had an opening for a vendor data coordinator, which I had no idea what that was. And through that, just kind of grew and was with Parsons for 5 years. Ended up in a buyer role, a procurement specialist role, and then moved to Janus Research Group in Evans. Did that for 3 years as a pricing analyst, and then got tired of that commute. That was an hour each way, that was brutal, and went to AECom, which then became Momentum, and by the time I left there, after 3 years, I was the acting procurement manager, and then I went back to Janus during COVID, so remote work, and I've now become the procurement and pricing manager for Janus.
Hey, so my name's Tom Young, and I have a law practice here in Aiken in addition to my public service in the state senate. And I came back, I grew up in Aiken, and went off to Carolina to undergraduate school and then to law school. And then I lived in Columbia for an additional 5 years after I finished school and practiced law there. And came back to Aiken in 2001 to open an Aiken law office for a Columbia firm. And so I was the only lawyer in that office here, and I had the support of a larger firm in Columbia. But when I came back, I was engaged. My parents were here, my brother was here. And I got married about 5 months after I moved back to Aiken. And I got real involved in multiple groups, chamber, several boards and commissions here in town, some at USC Aiken, some like the Aiken County Dollars for Scholars. I did it to be involved in the community and to meet people, because I'd been away for 12 years, and there were a lot of people in the community I knew, but there were a lot of people I didn't know. And so I did that, and over the years my law practice grew, and I got more involved in different organizations, and I know, and I can talk a few minutes about how AYP came about. But then in 2008, I decided to run for the General Assembly for the South Carolina House when there was an opening for the House seat, and was elected to that. And in the meantime, my law practice has continued to grow. I actually went out completely on my own in 2010 from the firm that I was with, and practiced by myself. I had an associate a couple times for part of the time, but majority of the time I was by myself until 2021, and then my longtime friend Strom Thurman, who was the solicitor, is now my law partner, and the two of us practice law together. And so that's where I am professionally now today.
All right, so I'm gonna throw one more question for the whole panel, and then we'll get to some specific questions. So we'll start back here with you, Tom, and work our way back to Jim. Looking back on your career, what's one decision that you made early in your career that paid off in a big way?
I think one of the things that I did was I had an opportunity to work for a couple of very well known, established Columbia law firms when I got out of law school. Would have been well paid, but I chose to kind of go a different path and took a job in the state court system. My first job, I was a law clerk for a judge, and it paid a lot less money, but it gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of people that I would not have met if I had taken the job that paid a lot more money when it was offered. And some people, I remember saying, or remember being told by some folks, God, I can't believe you turned that down. You might end up regretting that, but that is not the case. I think I know I made the right decision, and it's proven in the career path that I've taken and how well it's worked out for me.
Yeah, so my first year with Parsons, fresh out of college, right? And I said yes to helping with an audit preparation. And I had no experience, no background in audit preparation. They needed people to form this little ad hoc team. And yeah, it was long nights, it was a lot of overtime work, but it taught me so much about compliance and documentation, which is so important in what I do, and what I've done my entire career now. And if anything, it really showed that I was adaptable and willing to step outside the box and, be there when the organization needed me to be there, and take those stretch opportunities, which are so important early on in your career. And really any point in your career, it's important to continue to step out and try new things. And it shows that you're a great team player. So yeah, that was something really important.
And shameless plug for the chamber and AYP, I would say coming to the chamber to meet with David, my predecessor, and then he suggested going to AYP the next night, which I did, and I didn't realize that I was being scouted about how well I interacted with people and everyone at AYP. But the following day, on Friday, I had a email from Diane asking if I'd like to apply for a position within the chamber, based on how well I interacted with people in my conversation with David. So just one of those things, like Sarah said, you put yourself out there. We moved down here not knowing a single soul, and the first place for me logically was, all right, let's go to the chamber, let's get connected. And it turned out to be such a great blessing. From that first AYP meeting, I've met friends who became part of our Bible study group and home group, and then just countless friends in the community too, and then obviously leading to the job that I got, and then the job I now have. So just putting yourself out there and trying to get.
I think I remember that third
That-
Thursday too.
It was at Cold
It was
Creek.
at Cold Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
That's great. So I look at it as kind of our round one. That's career origins, lessons learned. Now we're going to go to community and AYP impact. So this one's going to go to Senator Tom Young here. You were the very first chair of Aiken Young Professionals Committee. How did being a part of AYP shape your leadership journey, and how was your involvement with the chamber? How's that evolved over the years?
So, AYP came about because David Jameson came here as the, to lead the chamber, and I was already involved in the chamber, and we started having some discussions about there needed to be some way to have more younger people involved in the chamber and try to attract younger people to the community, or retain younger people that were already living here. You know, I had lived in Columbia, knew there was a lot of stuff that you could get involved in a bigger city, but we didn't really have many of those opportunities here. And so the vision was is we would create AYP as through the chamber, and it would be a way to get more younger people involved in the chamber, but also give younger people an opportunity to interact with businesses and business leadership in the community. There would be social events and things that would enable or help retain folks and attract folks to Aiken. And so I think that was in 2007, I think. And so I was asked to be the first chair, and so David and I basically came up with AYP, and with the blessing of the chair of the board of the chamber at the time, and we started it. And it's my recollection that I was actually still chair of AYP when I ran for the South Carolina House the next year. And being in AYP and meeting the people I met and having, you know, the interactions I've had through the chamber with other people in the business community really helped me when I ran for office, because, you know, I'd never been elected to anything before since school, and so had never run for anything since school. And so being in the chamber in the contacts that I made was definitely a benefit to me in that run for office in 2008. And since then, I've been involved on the chamber board. I can't remember when I went on. I know I think I was on the chamber board for a while. And then Buzz Rich was the lawyer for the chamber, volunteer lawyer for the chamber, and he retired from that. And I remember David asked me if I would do it, and so I've been doing that for several years.
Thank
And
God.
I don't really remember how long I've been doing that. I just know I've been the lawyer for the chamber for a long time. So.
Yeah. All right, well, Jim, I got a question for you. And now this is just me, because y'all, Jim fills some big shoes. I almost like, how would I relate it? You know, it's almost like Nick Saban. You know, I feel like David was like the Nick Saban of the chamber, right? And you know, as a younger executive leading a legacy organization like the chamber, what role do you believe AYP plays in building the next generation of civic and business leaders in Aiken?
That's a great question, and you know, I feel like there is a desire, very strong desire among, you know, young professionals right now, young individuals across the country to really have a voice in their communities, right, in politics, in the decision-making processes, and to help shape the future of the places where they live. And so I feel like AYP in the chamber itself is really that bridge to that, right? It's a way for you guys to get involved, to show, one, that, hey, you're committed to this community, right? You want to be involved, people will take you seriously. And then two, for lack of a better term, you get to see how the sausage is made, right? Like a lot of things that we're doing behind the scenes to help our community grow and thrive. It's tough, but it's a lot of relationship building, right? It's a lot of advocating for certain things. So really, again, you know, the chamber seems to be a catalyst in a lot of different ways, and the AYP is such a great opportunity for that for young people.
Well, and shout out just again, Jim, because I can't do anything but clap and applaud for the way that you came in and made that seamless transition to carry the Aiken Chamber to the next height. So, Sarah, as someone working in a highly specialized and technical field, what does networking look like for you, and how has connecting with local professionals impacted your career?
Okay, so who did not grow up in Aiken? That's a lot of people. Okay, so I'm that. I am you. I grew up on the West Coast. I moved here after college. Didn't know anybody except my parents, who were in their 50s, right? I knew I needed to make friends. I knew I needed to tap into something in order to get me to want to stay in Aiken. I had a job, but I didn't have any peers, right? So joining AYP at the time was purely social networking for me. I didn't have a product to sell or a service to sell, so it wasn't an exercise it wasn't a transactional exercise. Networking for me wasn't. It was really like, how do I find friends? How do I build community? How do I make Aiken someplace that I want to call home for years to come? And it provided those opportunities for me. It found my best friends. My relationship with my husband grew through our mutual admiration for AYP and involvement in it. And yeah, it found other organizations that aligned with my interests and values, like Aiken Junior Women's Club, or Aiken Choral Society. So it's, kind of been a jump point for me throughout my tenure here in Aiken since '09. So, yeah.
Nice. We're going to go on to growth, challenges, and advice. So this is for all panels. You kind of jump in whenever you feel the want to answer. What's been one of your biggest professional challenges you faced, and how did you overcome it?
I'll start just because it's at the top of my mind, but I would say COVID was probably the biggest challenge for the chamber industry. I know a lot of industries, right? But it really made us think about what is our value proposition to our members, right? Because when we rely on settings like this to connect people and to do business and to share ideas, that was really difficult. But it was almost a blessing in disguise, because it made us pivot with what we're doing with a lot of things, and from that I think we've just stayed in that frame of mind to, all right, how could we do this better? What's our value proposition? How can we provide more value for our members? What are some different things that we can try to all of our events? So I think that's a good, frame of mind to move forward in any type of business or industry.
Yeah, so my biggest challenge was not feeling ready for being a manager and taking that next step in my career. I hope that, a lot of other people suffer from like slight imposter syndrome sometimes. And how you transition from going from being like a worker, like 100% of the time worker, to leading a team. And one of the things that I learned through that process was to accept that you don't know everything, right? And be able to lead with no ego. I've been really lucky that I've had many managers who led that way as well, and kind of modeled the type of leader that I'd like to be. So I don't think that I will ever fully feel like I am prepared for that position, but I think that I would like to believe that I am the leader that I want to have as well, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I can attest to that, because shifting gears here and trying to be, like you said, the leader now instead of just in the business and that coaching mentality.
Yeah.
That is a huge shift.
I've had a lot of challenges, a lot in both my practice, personal life, legislative service, but there's not anything that is insurmountable for me, and I would say for you too. If you've got, you need to have a moral compass, a strong work ethic, and a grounded faith. And if you have those three things, then I think you will find that you can overcome any of the challenges that you face.
That's good. That's good. Here's one that relates to that. Habits or routines that you have to help you stay sharp, focused, or motivated in your career.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so I start every Monday morning with looking ahead, and I don't think this is like a novel idea, but planning, making sure that deadlines, I know of everything coming down pike. I know when my teammate, my team members are going to be out that week potentially, so there's no surprises, or at least plan for the surprises that you can mitigate. And then I do regular check-ins. My whole company is remote, so we really heavily rely on Teams to constantly, not constantly, but daily check-ins with my staff. And then just to keep me like grounded and not spiral, I love to do things like craft, and I sing in choirs, so things that you can kind of step back, step away from the work, not let it be all consuming, and really have those things that keep you grounded outside of it. Those are really helpful.
So I got a couple for you. I try to daily, every day read my Bible and pray. That renews my mind and my soul each day. I love listening to podcasts. Two of my favorites are How I Built This. Just talks about a lot of entrepreneurs on their journey, really cool. And then also the Tim Ferriss show. If you guys are into business and learning about companies and founders, those two are really cool. Love to read, although with two little ones that don't get much time to do that anymore, so podcasts are key. And I just started last couple weeks doing No Technology Saturday, and I can tell you, just like you said, stepping away and unplugging, the initial impacts, like I feel less anxious. I feel like I'm not on the clock constantly and just completely present with my family. It's been really cool. So I would say try to do that. You don't realize how addicted you are to your phone, because we were going through the Starbucks drive-through line, and I have free time. I'm sitting there, it's a long line, and I'm like looking down, like reaching for my phone even though it wasn't there. So it's pretty eye-opening. I would suggest trying to do that at least one day. But
a lot of what they've said I would reiterate, but also time management, making sure that you're able to know what you need to accomplish. I mean, I need a to-do list. I mean, I create a list and I have it on a pad, and I try to check stuff off as we go down the list. I remember years ago, an older lawyer told me when I was first starting to practice law, he said, return phone calls. You'd be surprised the number of people who don't call you back. I mean, y'all know everybody's nodding their head, so I've always tried to call people back. And I've been surprised at the number of people who've always said, I can't believe you called me back, and especially in the elected official capacity. But we try to call everybody back timely, and to-do list, time management, and just trying to be focused so that you can be work ethic. You got to have a strong work ethic. Come early, stay late. It will get you places in life.
Preparation.
To piggyback too, one cool thing that I heard, and why I listen to podcasts too. Jesse Cole from the Savannah Bananas. I don't know if anybody knows Savannah Bananas. So want to talk about returning phone calls. When I was working for the baseball team, they were still up and coming, but he was very accessible. And I sent him a message on LinkedIn, and he responded, "Oh my gosh, just ask him for advice, what books he would read, yada yada yada." But his one thing is, which he said in a lot of different interviews before, is like, your mentors don't have to be people that you personally know either. So I think that's why podcasts are so cool. Like, you can take ideas from anyone, and throughout history of time, and throughout the country too. So wanted to throw that in.
That was great, man. A lot of great nuggets. Work-life balance, moral compass. What came to my mind is everybody always told me, PTO is paid time off. Somebody said, no, it means prepare the others. That's your right. All right, so another question here. Why is local engagement, not just networking, but showing up in the community so important to our career growth?
Yeah,
You
no,
agree?
you go.
Well, I was just gonna say that, when you're out there in the community, you're meeting people, you're networking, you're making friends, you're building contacts. You may meet somebody who can help you with a problem you got next week. They meet you, they may call you next week with something that you can help them with. And you may get invited to an event next week that you wouldn't have known about, so everybody here understands how that works. So you just have to engage, network, and build off of your network, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, I think that it, the more that you're seen out and about and doing stuff and participating in the community, you build a social currency of some type, that you are a reliable person or a responsible person, somebody that people can count on, somebody that's going to show up and support and have the community's best interest. I don't know. I just think that visibility is so important when you're trying to make a name for yourself or grow your career, or if you do have a product or a service to sell, you want to be as many networking opportunities as you can, and be in all of the different organizations as you can, just to get that notoriety, right? So, yeah.
A social currency, that's a great way to put it. I always tell prospective members or people coming to Aiken, in a community our size, people love to do business with people that they know. And even if you don't get that, it's not transactional. They see that you're showing up, they see that you care. A lot will come from that, and just continuing to build those relationships. You never know what a contact or a conversation is gonna do for you. And what door it might open in the future too.
That's right. I always say 1 + 1 is 2 anywhere in the universe. It takes more than me to make more than me. And for anybody to progress, we got to be exposed to different environments and different people and different information. So the more that you put yourself out there to be exposed, the more you're going to learn. 50% of all the stuff I do outside of my main job has been from somebody asking me for help. And I showed up, I became a DJ because somebody asked me.
He did my wedding.
Somebody asked me to help them at a wedding, and I showed up with my home entertainment system, and now I have a whole DJ. So, quick lightning round. This is quick. We're going to go question, first thing that comes to your mind right here. One mentor who made a difference in your life.
My current boss, Kelly Whitener. Leads with no ego. The exact leader that I want to be to my team. And brought me back to my hopefully forever home.
Well, my dad, he taught me to be nice to everybody and try to treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
I would say my college coach, and then my predecessor, David Jameson.
All right, best piece of advice you've ever received, or one of the best.
My dad's advice to me, if you are on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're inexcusable. So I usually try to be very much early to things.
That's pretty
Yeah.
I got two from my college coach. His mantra was just compete in life. Compete in every single aspect of your life, whether it be your job, whether it be your family or the board that you serve on, right? And then also when I took this position, Matt Merrifield, the CEO of Aiken Regional, he goes, Jim, don't feel like you need to know everything. If somebody asks you something, it's okay to say you don't know, but I will find out the answer. So I think that was a huge weight off of my shoulders.
That's real powerful.
The one that pops in my mind is one that I read years ago, and it's on my desk, and it's a quote from Coach Bear Bryant. He was like the Nick Saban of his era in college football, and he had a quote that said, "Show class, have pride, and display character. And if you do, winning will take care of itself." And I think that is something I try to remember on a daily basis.
That's awesome.
That's right. You know, there's one that's present with me right now. My mentor looked at me the other day and said, "Don't make the same mistake twice." So I'm doing something I've done before that I've learned and messed up from. And my coach used to say, you got to sacrifice what you want now for what you want most. Because a lot of times what you want right now is not in the same direction of what you want most. For example, I didn't go to the NFL because right now I wanted to go out and have a good time instead of staying in and working out and doing what you needed to do. All right, so what's a favorite hangout space for meeting people or relaxing here in Aiken?
I think Camp the Alley's pretty hopping these days. I mean, it used to be third Thursdays for me, but yeah. I don't know where else is really
I mean, the Wilcox.
Oh, the Wilcox.
It might,
awesome.
to young professionals, it might seem
Yeah.
intimidating, but
Oh,
it is.
it's so
We
casual.
call it like the living room of
Yeah.
Aiken. You never know who's gonna walk through there. It could be a horse. Maybe someone going to the pool, right?
Yeah.
Be international business people
Yeah.
coming in on travel, and it's just, if you haven't gone, I would get some of your friends and go. You know, they have the lounge area. It's really cool. And then my wife and I love going to Polo Grounds Cafe for breakfast. That's a cool spot. It's really nice.
I generally go where my wife takes me.
Good answer.
That's smart, man. Well, you know, like you said, Wilcox, you meet people from all over the world in Wilcox. And I've been all places over the country. People say, "Hey, Aiken, yeah, I've been in that Wilcox
That's
place."
right.
Yeah, third Thursdays is still a good place. You know, I've lived in Aiken since 1988 and didn't figure out about polo until 2015. It is polo season. You can go to Newbridge on Sunday for free. You know, so there's one more. We'll do one more lightning question, and then we'll switch to the next one. One thing that you wish more young professionals would do.
Ooh, I think that like when you join an organization, it's one thing to just be a general member, but finding a way to like get onto a leadership position of that organization early on is pretty important. Even if it's not like obviously you don't want to be like the chair of something right away, but like when I joined AYP my first year being here in Aiken, I immediately just joined a committee, and then from there I moved up. But yeah, like the sooner that you can get into a position of seeing how like the sausage was made, right? To use that phrase, to be more in the leadership roles. I don't know what I'm just trying to say, but yeah, get as involved as you can early on as you can.
Another shameless plug, come to chamber events as well outside of AYP. AYP is great to make that initial network, but the next step, if you really want to be engaged in the community, is come to chamber events. And I invite everyone to next Friday. We're having the 6 candidates for city council come in to speak, so it's an opportunity to see again who wants to shape the future of this city. So
I would say work ethic. Go in early, stay late, go the extra mile. You will get the attention of your superiors if you do that.
Now, I'm just going to add one thing, y'all, because we're all individually unique. We've had individual experience, but we can relate to almost anything. And leadership is influence, and we all influence the environment with our presence. So everybody here is a leader. It's whether you want to be progressive or non-progressive. And I never knew what I wanted to do. So I would say, if you don't know, find out something that you're good at. One of your talents, something you like to do, something that makes you curious, and pursue it. And if you improve your talents, you'll open up more opportunities for yourself. So now we're going to turn this over to the audience for some Q&A. Does anybody have any questions right now for our panelists? I'll put you on the spot, and I'm not gonna jump in there and say, somebody said it's okay to have an awkward moment of silence because we're some smart individuals in here, and I believe somebody from the crowd right here could come up with one good question. There we go.
Senator Young, what advice would you have to a young attorney practicing in Aiken and that is trying to develop business relationships and build their practice?
Get involved in different organizations in the community and see, how promoting your practice can, to those people that you're around, let them know what kind of law you do. Tell them that, if they need a lawyer, to call you. Because lots of times people who are looking for a lawyer, they don't really know who to call. And you could tell them, hey, call me, and if you're thinking about a lawyer, and then if we can't help you, we can always refer you to somebody that can.
Thank you.
I have another answer for that last question that kind of goes into this. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions either. So when I first started here, I was like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Ask the questions, because if you don't ask, you don't know, and then your team will definitely give you more work and more opportunity to showcase your skill set too.
If you have somebody that's more, COVID made a lot of people more introverted. So if you have somebody that's introverted or just not as social in general, what's your best advice on getting them to come out and network?
Pair them up with somebody who's more outgoing and, buddy system it up, or if you know that they're going to be like going to an AYP event or a chamber event, and somebody who's also going to be there, maybe you're not able to be there with them, say, hey, I know so-and-so's going to be there, can you, link up with them. I loved working the front desk at AYP events and meeting all the new people and, introducing them to, if it was their first time to AYP or if they were new to Aiken or something, just being able to chat them up. So there's always somebody who wants to be the outgoing person for the more introverted.
Real quick, just because I want to catch y'all too, and I'm just going to ask you this. Is like go back to my college days. Would you mind just sharing your name and what company you're with when you ask the question? Do you mind sharing your name and the company you're
Yeah,
with?
so my name is Blake Williamson, and I work with Holbert Law Firm. We have an office here in Aiken, Augusta, and Evans, and I'm in our Aiken office.
There we go.
And I'm Dylan Jowers. I own and operate Jowers Technology Solutions. We do IT and cyber. We were over there on the other side. Our building burned out earlier this year, so we're now located in the hall.
That's right. There you go. Because you never know when somebody might need your help or your services. Any other questions out here? Don't throw it on out.
It doesn't have to be about career, it can be about Aiken, like literally anything.
Awesome. I'm Mallory Holly with Queensboro National Bank and Trust, but how do you know when it's the right time to change a career? Or it may not be like job-wise, but maybe company.
Really.
I know from my personal experience, it was, you're not going to enjoy going to the office every single day. Like, you're not going to look forward to it. But when it got to a point where it was, I was just miserable. And I was like, I love baseball. I was working in baseball. I thought this was the dream job, right? Working for the Yankees. And it was just like, the culture was miserable and it was affecting, just bringing that home with me. So I think when, it gets to that point where it's affecting your personality and who you are, I think it's a good time to take stock in what you're doing and kind of reevaluate if this is really where my heart's at.
Yeah, for me, I've not, all of my next job opportunities have always come pretty organically, not in a, oh gosh, I'm completely fed up, I'm out of here kind of space. So I think that I was always just like open to the opportunity of there being something next. But yeah, like Jim says, like I guess if it did ever come to a when push comes to shove moment for me, I would probably want to make sure I was, really at the end of my road. Because there's, I think that there are some instances where you can leave a job maybe prematurely and think the grass is greener on the other side, and it might not be.
I don't know if you want to throw one
Well,
in.
yeah, I mean, so just to comment or echo some of what they said, the grass is not always greener on the other side. And, you know, if you're in a situation where you're not enjoying what you're doing, you don't like the environment that you're in, then maybe you need to be looking around. But I go back to being grounded in your faith and praying about it. You know, usually when there's a situation like that, a door will open. And so you just gotta have faith.
That's right. Yeah, and I've changed jobs maybe 5 times, and one of them was one of those I thought the grass was greener on the other side. So I think you got to find out what are your values, what are your personal values. You know, I do business. You want to partner with people who have like-minded values. If you're ever in a, like you said, you're gonna have some bad days. But if I'm in a company that values me and they're appreciating me and we're able to communicate, then I can sit through those. But when you have moral compass values starting to be questioned and you're not feeling appreciated, I feel like sometimes those are the signs that maybe it's good for a change. But definitely have that moral compass. Ask for advice sometimes. Pray on it. Don't just get mad one day and make a decision and leave. Because usually, my dad always said, anytime you make a decision when you're upset, it's probably not the best one. Any other questions? Did I see a hand raised?
You bring up a good point, and I would add also this, at least once a year, take a look at your resume, take a look at your LinkedIn profile, update everything, make sure it's in sync. God forbid you're not looking for a job, but maybe the company is paring back, and now you are thrown into that fire of looking for a job. Always be prepared for it. You never know when something's going to pop up. Maybe you're going to see something on a posting and be like, wow, that'd be really cool. And you got to get everything together, and you're too late. So always be prepared for it. At least once a year, take a look at everything, make sure it's up to date.
That's right. That's right. And know what matters most to you. And sometimes it's not all about the money, y'all. I'm just saying, sometimes more money comes with more heat, and work-life balance means a lot.
I just wanted to kind of add to your question. So one thing that's helped me in life is like aligning your work with your purpose. So I use this term called ikigai, it's a Japanese term for what your purpose is, and it encompasses 4 things. What are you great at? What are you passionate about? What you can bring to the world that will make it a better place, that will add to it in a positive way, and also what can you make money from. And if it encompasses those 4 things, I feel like if you're that's your purpose, and like that would be like a great job to have.
Yeah, I
And
love
to say,
that.
I am happy where I am. I've just changed jobs recently, and so that was kind of my.
Yeah, that's
You know, we
great.
had leaders that share what they think too. But,
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
Great question. And great feedback, from everyone. Like, how many people, and I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but how many people could answer that question right now if somebody asked you, what's your life purpose? What is your purpose in work? Could you spit them an answer right now? And if not, that's a good thing to think about. Any other questions?
Also more of a statement, this is a business networking event for young professionals. One thing that is forgotten by a lot is take a look around you and find each other on social media. That's how you grow your network in today's digital world.
That's right. So why does networking matter? I mean, why does it matter? Just, I guess, in general, if anybody, I'll throw it to the panelists real quick. I mean,
It's how we build community.
yeah.
So, yeah, be it professional community, personal community. Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't created to do life alone.
Correct.
We need people who, professionally and personally, who you can call on to be in your corner if you're going through a hard season of life. Like they're there for you, right? Or besides just the business opportunity, but it definitely helps to share the weight of the world with with some of your friends and close ones.
That's right.
The interaction. I mean, you can network at your church. Get involved in a church, and you go and when you are interacting with others, and you are having a very positive interaction with them. That's a very good form of networking and it will benefit you.
I agree. I mean, is there anybody here that think they made it through life completely by themselves with no help from anybody?
I need to read that book.
Right? You know? And I always look at when I say 1 + 1 = 2, I look at the plus sign, mutual respect. Any person with mutual respect, you can learn something from, because they've experienced something that you haven't, and vice versa. You can give them something. And, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, you know. And when you're on a team, you know, it's good to look at other strengths on the team as strengths that help the team, not as a threat to a position. Sometimes there'll be people in leadership positions who don't appreciate other strengths because they might feel like it's a threat to them. When you have someone else on your team, recognize their strengths, you know, use their strengths, and then networking. There's a lot that I can't, there's more things that I can't do than I can, but I usually know somebody who does, you know? So, that, you know, that's another way that your network, why I say it's your net worth. If somebody comes to me, I might not be able to help them, but I might can send them to a friend who can help them, and then that's how we help each other.
I'm just gonna give a plug for AYP and also for networking. So the reason I have the job I have now is because I met Jordan Getzman through AYP probably 12 years ago. And Jordan used to live in Aiken, now lives in Columbia, and I call it, so you don't know when your network's going to like help you.
That's right.
So I called Jordan probably 8 months ago, and now I have a job, the same company Jordan works at. Jordan I met AYP 14 years ago. More than a long time ago.
Okay, hey everybody. So I'm Charlize out of Columbia. I do life insurance with America. So my question would be, how do you build off diversity? Like, how can you network to build your team, and not only build your team, but expand your insurance sales and premiums by building diversity?
Well, I can't speak to insurance, but specifically I can talk, you know, to you about how we try to build our board of directors, right? We look for diversity of excellence and diversity of expertise and thought. So if you take that mindset in, you know, all the different communities that you're in, I think you'll be more successful, be willing to have conversations with anybody. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but.
I don't know much about the insurance industry, so I'm not sure how to answer it in regards to that, but I mean, to build a diverse community and a diverse network, I would think that you want to find and see organizations that model that diversity, or that already, you know, that that are what you want to experience. So yeah, AYP has always been very diverse in my opinion, and allowed me to meet people from all over the country who moved here, from all, you know, backgrounds, all different industries that I had no idea even existed. But yeah.
I would say just try to reach out and get involved in different organizations and meet with people that are in organizations and maybe that don't necessarily have people from your peer group in them. You've got a product to sell, and you need to try to be able to tell others about the product that you have and how your product is different from others, and how the service that you can provide is different from others in that industry.
Yeah, and I'll add, I don't know if this helps. You know, you want to build diversity in skills too. So have any of y'all heard of Strength Finders? You know, I did Strength Finder. It's something I would recommend to anybody if you've never done it. It's only $19. It takes about 15 minutes to do. It's an assessment that'll give you your top 5 skills. And I used to do this with organizations and try to look at your team. There's 34 different skills, and you kind of line. There's certain jobs that are better for different skill sets. But from a business perspective, what is your purpose? What are your values? What service are you providing? I look at business as a good or a service to meet a need or a want. Everybody needs or wants something, you know? And then do you have your standard operating procedures from what does it take from the need or the want to the delivery of good or service, and what needs to be done and who's supposed to do what, you know? And then what are your standards of excellence? So if you know, a lot of people don't especially in small business. But if you think about, this is my purpose, this is my service, what's the process from, hey, I need your, or why do I even need your, could you even tell me why I even need it? But once I have that need, what happens between that and delivery and getting paid? How many people do you need to do that? What skills do you need to do that? If you look at that, you'll build your diversity and skills to manage the service and getting paid. Still 2 cents. Any other questions? We got about another 5 or 10 minutes of questioning, and then we're gonna give some closing remarks and get the bottom line. Somebody give me another go. There we go.
I don't have a question, but I kind of wanted to respond to her question.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we think about diversity as being color, certain color and that sort of thing. Like you talked about different age groups, not only different nationalities, different career paths, but making sure that you do put yourself out there. Being authentically who you are, showing up every time, but also not being afraid to come to the chamber meetings, not being afraid to take the road less traveled. A lot of times we want to go in this direction because that's our norm. But sometimes you gotta kind of go against the grain and be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, it's a little intimidating, especially somebody may have been doing something longer than you, somebody may be making more money than you, but not being afraid to show up, be who you are every time, but putting yourself in front of people that typically wouldn't see you. It's okay to be bold, and it's okay to go in different rooms that you typically wouldn't be in. That's fine. That's it.
Any other questions? Anybody have any advice they need? Something they're going through from work? Something they want to get off their chest? This is our. You got 5 minutes here. Open mic for whatever you got to say or put out there. There you go.
Ryan, can we actually go around the room and have everyone introduce themselves and what company that they're with? So
I love to
this is
do
a
that.
network effect, so we want to see who's here.
All
Do
right.
that before we close up.
There you go. Well, I'll just start. I'm Byron. I'm with OCSI, the Human Workforce Company.
I'm Kenya Washington, the founder and executive director of Royal UK 6 Motivational Group. I have 2 locations in Aiken, and the chambers were very supportive and it came to both ribbon cutting.
I'm Chinese Carter. I'm out of Columbia, South Carolina. Again, I'm from America, Bishop.
Noah Martell, Augusta Rejects paper.
I'm local. I'm a set board certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. We just opened up our new interventional psychiatric clinic here in Aiken. Sorry, I'm from Columbia. We offer ketamine, Spravato, and TMS services. So we're geared more towards treatment-resistant mental health conditions like treating depression, anxiety, PTSD, and OCD. And this is my husband, Jay. Yeah. And he's the business side of the clinic.
And I'm with Krista Davis, and I represent Savannah River Nuclear Solutions as well as the Dick Marshall Group here in Aiken.
Hey y'all, I'm Shakayla Banks. I'm the marketing and communications specialist at Aiken Technical College.
I'm Alex Myers. I'm with the City of Aiken Parks Recreation and Tourism Department.
And again, Dylan Jowers with Jowers Technology Solutions, where we do acting cyber, also a chamber ambassador and guardsman for 14 years.
I am Jasmine Preston. I'm the assistant director in student affairs or student life at USC Aiken. Also am a DJ, work with Byron. Also have another business, Stormcloud LLC, where I do social media marketing for small businesses and photography.
Blake Williamson, I'm an attorney with Paul Barrett Law Firm.
I'm Delta Pennington. I'm also hopefully soon to be an attorney at Barrett Law Firm. I'm just waiting for my bar results.
Hi, I'm Bailey Mackey, and I work for Congressman Drew Wilson. I'm also a chamber ambassador, and I'm on the AYP committee.
I'm Amanda Zopp. I'm an unemployed project manager. I most recently work for Disney on their global information security team.
I'm going to stand up because I'm a little short. So, hi guys, I'm KZ. I am a restorative tattoo artist. I'm called Annually Derma Ink, so I camouflage scars. So if you or anybody you know would like to camouflage your scar, so you camouflage your mark but not your story.
I'm Kimberly Howard. I'm with State Farm Insurance.
I'm Skyla. I'm here with Upstream Recycling. My name is Andrew Smith. I'm with Crosslink Consulting. We do IT and cybersecurity.
Mallory Holly with Queensboro National Bank and Trust. I'm the Director of Virtual Services.
I'm Abby Rowling. I do development at Day One Fitness over in Bijan.
I'm Dana Lusk. I am the one-woman show behind my own candle business, Anchor Link. I do primarily e-commerce, but I'm trying to get into some local places, do some candle making workshops, things of that sort. So if you need candles, I'm a girl.
Well, and definitely y'all want to thank our AYP president, Ms. Whitney there. And thank you for having us. And before I pass it, being resilient, y'all. Sometimes everything's not going to go good. We're not going to always know the answer. Sometimes you got to just stay in the hot box. Stay resilient. Show up. Give it your best effort. Network. Yeah, I would love to get AYP back to where it was. Like in those beginning days at the time, pass the baton. I think Jason Raven was it after you? Was there one between you and Jason?
Josh Stewart.
Josh Stewart, that's right. And then Jason. Yeah, we used to have like 100 people come on our Thursday AYPs. So, however, if we all bring a friend or two, it'll be twice to 3 times as more fun. So, that's what I want to leave you with, y'all. Let's just make sure you stay in the seat. Let's get some more people involved. And I want to pass it down through the panel to give us kind of closing remarks. Bottom line, what do you want to leave us with?
I think you said it best, right? I just appreciate everyone coming out here today. If you want to get more involved with AYP, see Whitney, definitely bring a friend. Since COVID, we've had just an interesting time trying to get back to the engagement where we were at. But also, just quickly, I know we're not closing remarks, but
we got 15.
Would you guys prefer more events like this as opposed to just the straight up networking after hours? I guess show of hands. Who would rather this than typical networking?
I'll be in the mix. I'd be in the middle. I'd say you do something like this, like we leave this and then go farther.
Okay, so maybe a better question is lunchtime easier than after work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yo, definitely no partying at lunch and going back to work.
nothing like real time feedback.
No, that's good.
I appreciate you guys, appreciate the panelists, and it's a great event. Look forward to helping you guys get plugged in and grow here in Aiken.
Thanks for having me. I think that one of the things that I thought provided a lot of growth for AYP was when companies really pushed and had their employees come, and I know we used to do like corporate sponsorships at the time. A lot of the companies out at site or Bridgestone or wherever would sponsor 20 people and have and invite 20 of their young professionals to come out to those events for the year. So I don't know if that's something that y'all would take to your management if you're at companies or teams that are big enough for that. I know it sounded like a lot of like one man, one woman shows in the room, but that was always a really good supplier of young professionals.
Yeah, does anybody feel like their management could use some information, motivation on supporting work hour events? Because I feel like that's your SRNSs, your Bridgestones, your big employers. We may need to engage their management because even when I was with SRNS, I think they sponsored like 60 of us to go to events. So be another good thing for us.
Well, I want to thank y'all for your patience and listening. I hope we hadn't bored you to death. And I want to thank the Chamber for asking me to participate. I want to encourage each one of you to continue to be involved and to network. And I'm going to hit on the three things again: moral compass, work ethic, grounded in your faith. Those are the 3 things I hope you remember when you leave here today.
All right, well, so first, I'm going to applaud you all for showing up today. And then could y'all please join me in a huge round of applause for our panelists here. Thank thank you all so much. Y'all, we got a little bit of time for you to network together before we leave. The sky's the limit, and I wish you all the best and success.